Yo, what up, Street Dogs? There, Kim. All right, so the Turbo Thoughts. So this one is regarding aesthetics and photography, and what do photographers really want? So this is a very interesting question to me because I don't think actually up until now, maybe besides myself, I don't actually know anybody or read anybody who's seriously done serious philosophizing about photography and aesthetics, who had truly like, I haven't met a philosopher on photography who's not pretentious, essentially. So the basic notion I've been kind of curious about is, what do we photographers want in terms of aesthetics? Like, do we want to capture life and beauty as it is, like as photorealistically as possible, or is it what we're looking for to abstract reality because we don't like the way reality looks? We want to transform and transfigure it. So this is tricky. So if you just kind of look at the history of philosophy, and especially if you study the Stoics, the basic notion is always like, you know, follow nature, nature is the apex, whatever. And I think differently. I think obviously nature is beautiful and we love it, but I think the narrative is a little bit off. I think the reason why we really love nature is that, you know, certainly there's something about the colors and stuff in nature we like, but the point isn't for us to become more natural. The point is for us to become, I think almost in some ways to become more beast-like, where we actually conquer more of nature, where we subjugate nature. Because at the end of the day, what is the reason we don't want to blow up the planet and conserve trees, whatever? Is not necessarily because we like trees and plants for the sake of it. No, it's just it's nice for human beings to look at trees and stuff like that, and we want to conserve it in order for future generations of human beings to enjoy the nature. So actually, the human being is actually the most important thing, not the nature in itself. Because I think some people tend to think that like nature and tree is more important than humans, or nature and plants and animals are equivalent to humans, but I believe humans are the apex predator of planet Earth, and we is the most important thing, and we should be the most important, the dominant. Anyways, so I kind of like to experiment in photography and video, experimenting both in between color and black and white. And this is the difference. At least let me talk about video. When I'm doing a vlog in color, especially with this Lumix G9 and the Leica Lumix 12mm 1.4 lens, and also shooting 4K at 60 FPS, the footage and the quality actually looks pretty photorealistic, in the sense that skin tones looks pretty accurate, at least to my eyes, and it's vibrant and rich, and it feels quite accurate. Like to me, this is the Lumix camera is in shooting in intelligent auto mode, and also shooting JPEGs, whatever, or MP4, just, you know, no post-processing, whatever, just straight out of camera. In my experience, it's actually the most true to life look or experience or aesthetic that I personally got with any sort of camera, or digital camera, or even film camera. Even more accurate than film cameras, because film cameras, you know, film doesn't look like real life, it looks different. So I look at the footage, and the interesting thing with this kind of color video footage is that it looks very, very much to real life. And so I look at it, it looks quite photorealistic, like real life realistic. Whereas black and white, certainly we don't see the world in black and white, and so black and white is more abstract. And I think, like, I mean, ultimately with photography, I love color in black and white, but if I wanted to take a photo accurate representation of my food or my loved ones or whatever, certainly color is the goal. But if the goal is to create kind of more of like an artistic or like artful representation of reality or the world, then black and white seems to be better, because like, I don't actually think the purpose of art is to imitate nature. Essentially, it's for us to create something beyond nature, like hyper nature, above nature, beyond nature. So in some ways, art should be the most unnatural thing. And I still think that the best art does involve humans and human beings and so forth. And so maybe what we're trying to do as artists, photographers, visual artists, whatever you want to call yourself, is we're trying to create a more different above world, like a different reality. Whereas, you know, when I'm vlogging, doing these videos with you, part of me, I kind of like the notion that we're just having a nice walk and a nice chat together. And so, you know, when people attend my workshops or, you know, meet me in real life, they're like, yo, Eric, you're exactly like who you are on YouTube. And I'm like, thank you. That's like the best compliment I could get, because my only personal aspiration is for me to be like, for my online persona and my real life persona to be, that my embodied personality to be the same. That's actually what I respect and admire the most in terms of creators and people on the internet, is when I meet them online, or I have a certain notion of them on the internet and I meet them in the flesh and it's the same person. What I do not honor is when someone's, you know, movie persona or actor persona is like, it's like this, but when you meet them in real life, they're actually a different person. So to me, that's just, you're an actor, that's disingenuous. And right nowadays, like, we tend to think of actors like good things. Oh, he's such a good actor. Back in the day, actors were seen as despicable according to the ancient Romans. To be an actor was, you know, essentially you're like kind of a slave clown. It was kind of considered an insult to call somebody an actor. But anyways, so I don't want nobody to think I'm an actor. You know, even, you know, hip hop culture, to front or to fake or pretend to be something that you're not. Like, yo, if you're from the burbs and, you know, you had a nice private school education and you're like, yo, I'm gangsta, I'm like, come on, dogs. Like, dude, don't pretend to be something that you're not, right? So I think just the biggest ill in today's society, people just pretend to be something they're not. Like, yo, if you grew up like a square, just admit you're a square. And this is why I have 0 ounces of respect for Drake, even though I think he's insanely talented and good at what he does. Dude, this is like the fakest guy ever. He's like, yo, man, I'm a killer, I'm a thug, I got guns on my dog. You were Degrassi, man. You're little Johnny boy. You know, your mom drove a Benz and you went to a nice private school. I'm like, come on, dude, you can't, like more authentic. You just talked about, like, you know, your real self. But anyways, that's a different point. So maybe us as artists, what we're trying to do is trying to go above reality, beyond reality, hyper reality. Like Uber photography maybe is the goal. Uber actually means, like, in German, above or beyond. So, you know, the Uberman, the Ubermensch, or the Superman, it's not like necessarily superpowers. It's kind of more of like, you know, human 2.0, I guess. It's just like to think beyond, just thinking beyond basic. So maybe us as artists, visual artists, maybe this is kind of an encouragement to shoot more black and white, or if you shoot color, if you want to look more artistic, yeah, just do more weird experimental types of post-processing. Don't feel like it needs to be like super realistic to real life. So in the next video or the next blog post or the next thought in my blog, I'm gonna talk more about some of my personal thoughts about maybe how we could utilize capturing reality like really realistically in an artistic way.